Hello and welcome to At the Leadership Table with retired Major General Jim Hoyer. Oftentimes people hear the word leader and they think only of political leaders, but leaders come in many forms, and that's worth exploring. I'm Jim Hoyer, born and raised in West Virginia, a husband, a father, a new grandfather, and a retired military leader, serving for over 40 years in public leadership for our state and nation. Now, the most important mission I have going forward is to educate, motivate, and empower our next generation of leaders. At the leadership table with me today is Renee Hoffman. Renee served over 25 years in the West Virginia Army National Guard. She specialized in logistics, engineering, and recruiting. And I can tell you that over my years of running the Guard, Renee was one of those strong young leaders that we had in the organization that helped move us forward, both in our national military mission, but also as we responded to the needs of the people of the state of West Virginia. She is now the supply chain manager for Hope Gas, and we're excited to have her on because she's a great example of how a military member and now veteran has taken those leadership skills and translated them to the next opportunity of serving West Virginia. So Renee, it's great to have you on, and thanks for joining us at the leadership table today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So I'm going to ask you the same first question we ask all of our guests. Please share with us a standout moment when you learned something really important about leadership.
Gosh, there are so many in this, with my current position in the civilian world with Hope Gas, and then in the military, obviously 25 years, there were so many. And I think just probably the most important thing for me that I learned was just to lead by example. And so don't just walk, talk the talk, but you have to walk the walk, and put your folks first. So let them know that you really genuinely care about them as people. And if they respect you, if you're leading by example and you are and walking the walk with them alongside them, they work so much harder, so much better, and just having that mutual respect. It doesn't just go one way. So I think that's the most important trait for me.
So, and that may be an example for our next question, but give me an example of either that or something else that you've taken a valuable leadership lesson that you took from your military leadership service and have translated into your civilian leadership role with now with Hope Gas.
Yeah, the military has so many great things that are directly transferable to a position in the civilian world. And I think the most important one, probably well, there are several that I live day to day with my military experience, but training the folks under you to replace you, make sure you're training your people, and that knowledge that you are actually passing that on to the people directly under you, so they can just there's no lull, like we just keep moving. So that's how I run my supply chain team.
So you have another unique experience in that, both being a military member, but also being a military spouse. So tell us how being a military spouse is I think both an honor and a challenge, and how that translates as well into the things that you deal with now in your civilian life.
Yeah, so we're in a similar position now as when we were in the military because, both of us serving, we both support each other, supported each other 100%. We understood what those sacrifices were, what needed to be done since we were both, I guess, living that. So it's similar now with him having a leadership position in another company, and I have a leadership position in my company. And so there are pros and cons, obviously, across the board to having a spouse that's, that's a military member as well, but understanding of exactly what the other person is going through, and being there. So knowing what you need to positives for sure.
So, you and Jason and I had a conversation actually about uh, sense of purpose. And you talked specifically about the sense of purpose you felt in the military, and now the sense of purpose you feel that you have in your role as a manager and leader at Hope Gas. So, talk a little bit about how sense of purpose is important to you, but also drives you from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah, I was a little nervous, I'll be honest. I'm leaving the military and going into a civilian position. And so I did work for another company, another oil and gas company, prior to coming to Hope Gas. And great company, and nothing to say bad about that at all. But I really felt like I was kind of working for a paycheck. Hope Gas has given me the sense of purpose similar to what I had in the military, where I was doing something for a greater purpose. So in the military, you're doing something for the better good of the citizens, in the United States, and you're making that sacrifice. So coming to Hope Gas, when we stood up Hope Gas, and a lot of the contracts and a lot of the things that we had outsourced previously when we were part of another company, those decisions were all made elsewhere. They were made in other states, and we were had to kind of live with those decisions. And some of those were good for West Virginia, and some were not. And so now I'm in a position where I can make those decisions. We can make those decisions, and we can bring a lot of those contracts, employ local people. The decisions we're making are directly impacting my friends, my family, my neighbors, and the people that I love here in Appalachia. So it's definitely Hope Gas gave me that sense of purpose back that I had when I was in the military, because I'm having an impact. We're creating family sustaining jobs, wages that people can actually live on. We're keeping people here in the Mountain State. I have children, that work here, and I have a daughter that did go out of state to work. But I want my children, grandchildren, great grandchildren. I want our families to be able to stay here and make a good wage and live a good life. So I definitely have that sense of purpose here at Hope that I had in the military, just in a different way.
So and I think you probably answered part of my next question, and that is that I see Hope Gas as being unique in that you guys have really moved into the space focused not just on being a strong utility company, but also being a community leader. So tell me a little bit about how that's important, not just to you, but the rest of the leadership team at Hope to be that driving force in the future of West Virginia.
Yeah, we have, we're 90% of us are from right here. And so we're able to give back in lots of ways. We have a lot of programs in the communities. We partner with schools with the VA hospital, we have all kinds of things where we give back, but we're also giving back to the youth in West Virginia. So we are doing internships. We are partnering with trade schools and things to give those young folks another opportunity, another chance to come and get some experience with us. Hopefully find a niche here where we can keep those folks here. So giving back to the young people, it's huge. It's part of our core at Hope Gas. So that I think that's one of the biggest give backs that we're giving to the state, providing that to our young people.
So one of the things that you guys are also focused on, and is an important mission for me and for folks like you and Jason, is how do we both keep our veterans in the state as they transition out militarily, but also attract back home not just those that were from West Virginia that have gone off and served, but also those who might want to come here for the first time. So give us a little bit of advice on veterans looking for a sense of purpose and possibly coming to West Virginia to fill jobs, and from your experience, how that's been successful for you.
Yeah, West Virginia, has, I know, one of the highest per capitas, if not, it used to be the highest per capita for, veterans. So West Virginia is very veteran friendly state. They're supported here. We are very strong communities that support veterans here. The companies, I've only, worked for a couple companies since I came out of the military. Both of those companies, preferred veterans. So very veteran friendly environment here, and you can make a good wage. And so your skills that you gathered in the military are so appreciated here. So I know not a lot of places aren't, not all places are like that. West Virginia here, we do have a preference, I think, for veterans, and they have so many great things that the military teaches you that are, like I said, directly transferable to the civilian world. So I would love to have more veterans here, and we definitely would at Hope Gas. I know that's a huge, that's a point, that you get points for that. So we prefer veterans for sure. My entire team actually are veterans, so
Is that right?
that worked for me, and that wasn't something. It wasn't planned. I'm not discriminating, but the folks that I have that work for me are all veterans, and so different branches, but they just happen to all be veterans because they're the mentality, the drive, the attitude, all that is so important. So yeah, they definitely veterans. They should reach out and give West Virginia a chance because we would love to have them.
Well, Renee, on behalf of my family and all the people of West Virginia, I appreciate, number one, your service, 25 years of service in uniform, but also being able to take and translate those leadership skills into a new career in West Virginia with an organization that's continuing to move West Virginia forward. And thank you for being a military spouse as well, and for taking the time to be with us today at the leadership table.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate you, and thank you everyone for listening. So feel free to reach out if you need anything.
Thanks for listening. This has been At the Leadership Table with retired Major General Jim Hoyer. Did you know you can now find me on social media at RMG Hoyer? That's HOYER, or email me at rmgjameshoyer@gmail.com.